Okay, this is Algebra 2, Lesson 47, Writing and Graphing Linear Inequalities. The objective students will graph linear inequalities. This is just like drawing a line, except we're going to add a couple steps. Here are the steps for today's lesson. Okay, number 1 and 2. Here we go. Y is greater than or equal to negative 2x plus 5. The first thing I'm always looking at when I do any problem that has to do with lines is I want to make sure it's in slope-intercept form, which is y is equal to mx plus b. So on my equation here, or inequality, I'm noticing it's not an equal sign but a greater than or equal to sign right here. So since that's the case, I know I'm going to graph it a little bit differently, meaning I'm going to think about if I need a dashed line or if I need to shade, and where do I need to shade. Okay, so first thing I'm doing, it's checking to see if it's y is equal to mx plus b format. It is, so my slope is equal to negative 2, and my y-intercept is 5. So this problem is super easy. It's already basically done for me. So all I have to do is plot my y-intercept, then I plot my points accordingly based upon the slope. Okay, and then I graph a line. So I'm going to graph a line with my straight edge. Draw some arrows at the end. Now before I move on, I'm going to ask myself, do I need to make this a dashed line? I would only make it a dashed line. I would look at my inequality and I would make it dashed if there was no equal sign. But since there's an equal sign here also, it's greater than or equal to, I'm going to leave it solid. Last thing, once I graph my line, I need to shade. Okay? I read it from left to right. Y is greater than or equal to this expression. So since this is greater than or equal to, I'm going to shade above the line. So this is above the line. So we're going to shade above the line. And you would use the side of your pencil and make it a nice shaded region. Okay? Huh? Well, you could do that. I don't like it when students do this, or they're shading like this, or they do this. They're like, I'm shading. Look at me shade. Okay, that's a little excessive, and when we're working on systems of inequalities, then that shading looks really bad, and it's confusing because sometimes students might shade using a line like that, and then all of a sudden it's all like it looks very messy. We don't know what's the original line, so we want to not do that and use the side of your pencil. Another way you could do it is you take your pencil and you shade. Yeah, you go old school. You remember like first grade? You borrow this. You write on this? Yeah. Okay, so take your pencil and you lightly shade sideways like so. And you're like, that still looks bad, Mr. Rinkwitz. It doesn't. Can you take your finger and you...
Hey, why did you go into art? You're pretty good.
That's about as good as it gets, okay? So you see how it shades, okay? And it's a lot easier to erase. If you were to do like it too heavy, then you might not be able to erase it. So, anyways. Okay? So that's kind of how I want you to shade, okay? Don't be messy, don't be lazy, do it well, okay? Number 2, watch me do number 2 now. Same thing. Slope-intercept form. Is it in slope-intercept form? No, so I'm going to change it. So let me rewrite it down here. We got 8x plus 3y is less than 9. Subtract 8x from both sides. When I do that, we got 3y is less than negative 8x plus 9. Divide 3 by both sides, or 3 on both sides. And when I do that, I don't have to flip the sign, but we get y when you divide or multiply by a negative number. Okay, so we get y is less than negative 8/3 y, or x, plus 3. Okay, so now we have it in slope-intercept form. Now I'm going to graph this graph. So we got positive 3 is my y-intercept. Slope is negative 8/3. So I'm going to go down 8, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, and I should have a point that ends right there. So I can put another point right there. Okay, and now I'm going to graph a line. Okay, my graph paper is a little smaller, but on your homework it'll look bigger, I suppose. So draw a line with your straight edge. You can use the side of your ID card. And then you could do, on this example, I'm noticing, is there an equal sign here? No, there's no equal sign. So I want a dash line. So you can either do this two ways. You could just take your card or your straight edge and make a straight line. Or a dash line. Or you can just make a straight line and then take your eraser. Okay? And then you just take your eraser and you just erase over it. Just go like, oh, okay. It makes a dash line also. Totally works fine. Whichever way you want to do it, it's fine with me. Then, of course, you shade like I taught you. It says less than, so we want to shade underneath. And I usually try to shade nice and even so that it looks real neat. Okay, and then I'm done. Okay, so the big concept here is make it in slope-intercept form, graph it. The two big things I want you to notice is it solid or is it dashed? And then where do you shade? Is it greater than or is it less than? Okay, so 1 solid 2 is about number 1. 2 solid 1 is about number 2, and specifically focusing on the dash or solid and where to shade. Okay, ready, set, go. Are you guys singing Wrecking Ball?
Yeah. Oh, that's long.
All right. Y-intercept first. Negative 1/2 is our slope, so we're counting down 1. Graph. Okay, am I shading above or below? Below, okay, so. Below, good. Okay. Number 4, go. Turn to your neighbor, tell him what's the y-intercept. 0. There's no 0 up there. No, there's no 1 up there. What's the y-intercept?
You have to keep going and going and going and going.
It's -2.
It's like 40.
It's 0. It's 0. I was trying to trick you. Why is it 0? There's no y-intercept. So even though you don't see one, you could still put 0 there. Okay, go.
Oh, no.
Number 4, don't erase your boards. I asked you not to erase your boards.
Did I get it right? Shade up top.
Most you got it right. You kids are so talkative today. Here we go. So, it's hump day. Yeah, that's right. It's Wednesday. Shading above.
How do you know whether to shade on it?
How do you know whether to what? Where to shade? Okay, that's a good question. Listen. Hey. Stop. Okay, a couple things. A couple things you should know. If you have a positive slope, so this is a negative slope. You see how the slopes look the same, but one's positive and one's negative? A negative slope, if you're looking at it from left to right, like you read a book, a negative slope will go down from left to right, okay? A positive slope will go up from left to right. So that's something you should kind of look at. These are details you need to start recognizing, because we're going to start drawing conic sections versus circles, ellipses, and you have to be able to know what direction certain things go. All right?
Can we do another example or do you?
Oh, we got, yeah, one more. You know where to shade. This is how I think about shading. Think about if you're a person walking. If you're walking on top of the mountain, you're on the greater side of the mountain, right? You're greater than the mountain if you're on top of it, right? So you would be shading on top. Would you be walking like this? No. So then,
It's easier.
Yeah. Should have said that.
it just kind of helps you. Does that make sense? Okay?
Hey, repeat that again.
Again, you know if it's greater than, pretend you're walking on it like this if it was a hill or a mountain. You walk on top because you're greater than the mountain, okay? So you don't walk like this, right? Because you just That doesn't work. You'd be dead. You'd be
Can't walk upside down.
You can't walk upside down. Okay.
True.
So,
Oh, no, I can't.
Shh. What's that?
so if the sign's greater than
Shade up. Yep. Okay. Number 5. Shh. Turn to your neighbor. Number 5. Turn to your neighbor. Tell him what would be the steps.
Divide both sides. You know what I mean? See about the bang.
Okay, so I'm going to do number 5. Okay, so on number 5, in case you missed it, you got 7x. Check your work, by the way, in case you missed it. I didn't ask you to erase your boards. 4y is greater than -8. Okay, first thing you're going to do is subtract 7x from both sides. You're subtracting, so you don't need to flip the sign. So you get -4y is greater than -7x minus 8. Divide both sides by -4. Okay, since I'm dividing by -4, I have to flip my inequality sign. So instead of greater than, it's going to be less than. So it's going to be y is less than 7/4 x. And then -8 divided by 4 is +2. Okay, so I'm going to graph it now. 2 is my y-intercept. 7/4 is my slope. So it's positive, so it's going to be going up from left to right. So I can't count all the way up here, but I'm going to count the opposite way. So down 7 and then across 4.
Oh. What?
I just, when you look at graphs, you know 2 plus 5 is 7, right? You follow me? 2 plus 5 is 7.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
I'm going the opposite way.
I got you.
Sorry, I'm showing you little tricks that I do to help you move more quickly. Why did I do that? Why did I go the opposite way? There's not enough points, right? On my paper. Anyways, then I connect the dots. And I ask myself, is it a solid or a dashed line? It is.
Dash.
Can you pick up the phone, Manny?
Oh, you're playing crazy.
He was up ready. He's ready.
You answered or?
Son speaking.
Okay. And since it's less than, we shade underneath.
negative.
Okay, so pretend you're walking. You would be walking on top of the hill. So you'd be up here. Right? So you would shade below. Okay? That's it.
That's like an almond.
I know, so it's positive, right?
Okay, and that concludes our